wondering why I haven't dropped my non-metal list as of yet, this EP is actually the reason. I wanted to see whether or not this was going to shake things up at all, and I really don't know if that's going to be the case, but this is not the actual events. The brand new EP from 9 Inch Nails. It dropped on the 23rd of December. We are not done reviewing albums this year, but this is the last one that has the potential to be on year-end lists, since that one has not dropped yet. This is a 5-track EP. This is the first time that I've reviewed anything from this band since Hesitation Marks. However, this is not the first album from Trent Reznor we've gotten this year. He's continued his partnership with Atticus, who's on this album, but they have continued to score film soundtracks and do things of that variety. Of course, The Social Network many years ago was able to score them a Grammy Award. So this 5-track EP is kind of interesting, considering the very first cut is not even 2 minutes in length, and it's not an introduction or an instrumental. It's one that actually boasts lyricism. It has a bit of that aggressive tendency that the 9 Inch Nails from the 90s and first part of the 2000s really showcased, though it does have a little bit of the sensibility and a little bit of the new sort of approach that Atticus has brought to the band, sort of interwoven within it as well, which does give it a nice little added bonus. So that is a very interesting track to really start this one off. The 1 minute and 46-second runtime is sort of a misnomer, considering it feels like an actual whole song. It feels like it should be maybe a 3-minute cut, but it goes by in the blink of an eye. Now, the next 2 tracks, Dear World and She's Gone Away, is kind of setting up more so what the actual themology of this album is. And I like the title, not the actual events, because it kind of paints this idea to me that there's going to be a full length in 2017 from 9 Inch Nails, and this title sort of is suggesting that that's not the case. You know, this is not the actual album, either that or it's based off of themology within the album itself. But Dear World is very different from Branches and Bones, which was the track that followed it, the first cut, as it's very dark. It's one that has a lot more of a sort of decaying, very melancholic atmosphere to it, almost unsettling in a way. It's very eerie. So a lot of that industrial and electronic side that has really given 9 Inch Nails, really Trent and Atticus, some success with some of their soundtrack work, has now been applied to the 9 Inch Nails philosophy of sort of darker and very brooding melody. It gives it a little bit of an extra punch and actually adds a lot of some sort of, you know, it adds a lot of atmosphere to a group that already had a lot of atmosphere going for it based off of that industrial approach, but this has given it a little bit more. I would have loved to have heard this side a little bit more on Hesitation Marks, which was, of course, the last album of theirs that we spoke about. But I also feel that Dear World and She's Gone Away is this sort of 2-track combined idea. It kind of runs together a little bit at the end. So it feels like it's a continuation, which would make it a 10-minute long track if that's indeed the case. She's Gone Away continues with Dear World was able to begin, and at 6 minutes it's the longest cut on the album. And this is one that is also marked by the fact that the softest and perhaps most harmonic thing that you hear on this song, the most beautiful thing that you hear on this song, is Trent's voice, which is very different, considering usually Trent's voice is used as sort of this very offsetting, either that or sort of it's one that adds and builds to the unease of a track usually, and it works once again on She's Gone Away, but it's one that's painted in a little bit of a different light. And this has some atmosphere that I can guarantee you some metal bands would love to have. The way in which the real structure of this is built, the way in which the layering is done, is one that's able to concoct a very eerie setting, and based around that, you can guarantee that there would be plenty of groups that would love to have this mastered, as opposed to a lot of this, the material feeling a little bit samey throughout the course of an album, or having to rely on a constant album-long themology in order to really accomplish that goal. So good on 9 Inch Nails on that, and really that is a theme that is also followed up on the very final track on this album, which is Burning Bright, Field on Fire, which once again really masters that heaviness to go alongside of the eerie atmosphere that is really painted by Atticus and Trent on this song. And again, it's very strange that the voice is probably the most melodious or the most, non-eerie thing that you hear on the track, but once again, it's something that does add a little bit of something additional to the unease. Now, the idea of you, track number 4, is a bit interesting considering it does feature Dave Grohl and one other musician whose name I just spaced on. I think it's Dave Navarro. And this is a cut that has a little bit more of a branches/bones style philosophy to it. It has a little bit more aggression that's really painted behind it. It does give it a little bit of it's sort of a breather after the Dear World She's Gone Away idea. And it's one that is right in between that idea and then the Burning Bright near 6-minute finale. But I like this track because it does give you a little bit of something different. It shows that Nine Inch Nails has a lot to work with in their toolbox. Really, this addition to Atticus now as a sort of full-time band member has given them a lot more room to really explore and grow a little bit. And this is for a band that already had grown a lot, a band that had already been a trailblazer in the minds of many people. So to know that Nine Inch Nails now has more to their playbook really makes them a very dangerous group. One that, with their next release, will have some high expectations painted upon them, but also have everything within their capability to deliver. This is a really strong EP. But it's one that I feel is going to have some different reaction. I think those that enjoy Hesitation Marks may enjoy the electronic and more industrial side of this EP. They'll really like this direction. You know, Nine Inch Nails has a very dedicated fan base that will love just about anything that Trent does. But I feel that some old school fans from the 90s will also really appreciate this. Either that, or if they don't, they will be excited to know that there's a remix album that is currently also being released based off of The Fragile, which is, of course, Nine Inch Nails' big-time masterpiece from the late 90s, the double album that easily is probably one of my favorites from the band, so I would definitely want to check that out just on my own time. I want to know what you guys think about not the actual events by the Nine Inch Nails. Why did I put the there? I don't know. I felt like doing it. It sounded like fun. Is it going to make the list? I don't think it is. It might. It's very, very possible, but I have my doubts considering I think I've reviewed more than I thought whenever it comes to rock. I felt like maybe I didn't touch very much, but I think that's a lie. But either way, this is a solid EP that if you're a fan of the band, you should certainly scope out. Let me know your thoughts. I'm Cover Killer Nation. Take care.